Okay, I want to take you through the process of becoming an excellent virtual assistant. And because I'm talking with a lot of Filipinos and Filipinas, I'm going to include an international perspective on that. But the first segment in this, and just to give you a little bit of an example, what a virtual assistant is someone who helps another person, often in another country, to achieve things that can be done online faster and more inexpensively than them doing it themselves. So, for example, I have a virtual assistant in India who helps me 3 or 4 hours a day with video editing, web design, accounting, all kinds of projects. And every 2 weeks, he sends me a detailed invoice of what he did and how many hours, and I pay him. And every day, as I have things that I need to do, I send him a voice recording or an email saying, please do this, do this, do this, and do this. And as soon as he has done it, he sends me an email saying, this is what I did, and here is a link to my work. So that's a relationship between an employer and a virtual assistant. Now, the benefit for someone like myself is that I have an excellent virtual assistant who is doing things that need to get done, but that I either don't have time for or I don't enjoy doing. And in some cases that I don't have the training for. The benefit to my virtual assistant is, one, he gets to stay at home with his wife and his child. 2, he makes more money, twice as much money as he would normally make, and sometimes 3 times as much money as he would normally make in India. So I save money, but he makes 3 times more than he would normally make in India because he's very good. He's an excellent virtual assistant. And so he can work 4 hours a day and spend a lot of time with his family because that's what he chooses to do. And it's a great relationship. And so I'm very, very happy with him. But as I've started both a nonprofit and various other projects, I have more work than my assistant can keep up with. And so this is an idea for how you can train and do 2 things. This set of videos will help you become a better virtual assistant, but it will also help you develop a knowledge if you want to work for me at some point of how to go about that. And so the first thing is skill development. And so below, there are a number of videos that will help you develop specific skills. How do you develop a skill? 1, you watch a video about something that I need or that is a general skill that various employers might need. 2, you see what you would need to do in the way of software and equipment, etc., to learn that skill. 3, you decide if you could be good at that skill and if you are willing to learn and do that skill well. And 4, if you want to, you can let me know or list it on your resume, I can now do this skill well. How do you know? Because you practice. You practice doing that process well, and once you know how to do it, then you can list that as a skill. And the skills are on a continuum, meaning if you know absolutely nothing, you have a 0. If you know a little bit, maybe you're a 1 or a 2. If you're perfect at that skill and can do it quickly, you're a 10. And so every skill has a continuum. And of course, if you master 5 to 7 skills and you're really, really perfect at them, it's much better than you have 50 skills that you are lousy at. You're just not very good at any of them, but you can do a little bit of everything. So you want to pick some things that you'd like to do, that you'd think you'd be good at, and you want to get really, really good at doing them by practice. So this is skill development. And there's really not a lot of basis to have a relationship with an employer until you're really, really good at doing something well. And then you can start doing that well, and then you can start practice doing 1 or 2 other skills well, and with time you'll get good. The next thing that's important, you have a skill, but maybe you're dealing with someone in another language. In this case, I'm English, so English is my language. The better that you get at speaking English in both writing and speaking and video, the more useful our relationship will be. 1, I will understand you. But 2, I could send you a document for editing, or you could watch a video and say, oh, Dane, that's not very good pronunciation here because I know English, and so you could trim out bits of the video, etc., because you understand English. If you're an excellent video editor but you don't understand English, you cannot edit the voice in a video. And so continually improving your English is a good skill. Secondly, grammar and spelling is important. Even if you understand generally when talking, if you get a good grammar and spelling checker, where everything that you send out is grammar and spell checked, this will be much more valuable, particularly if you're editing writing, than if you do not have a grammar and spell checker. Now, the next thing in this communication category is reliable internet. For example, the Philippines has some of the worst phone and internet connections in the world. Thailand, Singapore is better than the United States. Philippines, 10 to 20 times worse. Very low speeds as a general rule for upload and download. Unreliable connections, no voicemail on the cell phone. So having a reliable internet connection is absolutely critical if you're going to have an ongoing daily conversation with an employer and are going to be doing research. And so you may need to have 2 different internet companies both coming to your house with Wi-Fi so that together you can have enough speed to be reliable. And if one goes down, you have the other, etc. And this can help with internet. The other thing that I've done is I've put video editing online so that you don't have to download and upload video. You can do a much lower bandwidth video online, and in that way it's just voice and written stuff that needs to constantly go over the internet. The next thing with communication is you always want to use the app or program of your employer. For example, I use Skype a lot. Sometimes I'll use WhatsApp, but mostly Skype, and even more I like email. And so having a good email setting, having maybe 2 devices that if one you lose or gets broken, you have your email account on the other, you can stay in touch, is good. So I like doing most of my work via email. But if your client likes Skype, if your client likes WhatsApp or whatever it is, you have to use the software that is familiar and comfortable with your client. Ethics. This is a big deal. Whenever an employer invests in a new relationship, there is a risk. And the biggest risk is spending a lot of time and then the person not being able to finish the job or leaving the job for another job before the job is complete. Imagine a video editor who you spend 10 hours teaching them your different style. And then they spend some time making mistakes on the program, etc., and there's another 20 hours. And then they understand the program and they've made progress and they've done half of the documentary or the video. And then they decide they want to take another job, or they get sick, or someone steals their phone, or they get bored and don't want to do the work. Well, then all of that work is wasted because the video has to look consistent throughout, and they've begun in one style and the next person is going to do it differently. And so there's a risk. And this is why reliability and loyalty and an understanding of that risk is part of the ethics of the relationship. Why? Well, if you form a great relationship, for example, my virtual assistant in India, he's always treated me well for 5 years. So if he wants to work with me, he can work with me for the rest of my life. I would be honored and happy to give him a high-paying job anytime doing something because he considers my feelings. He doesn't stop in the middle of a job. He asks me, Dane, I'd like to go on a vacation. Is this a good time? He responds in emergencies. If I have something urgent and say, hey, I quickly need something, even if it's a weekend, he responds. And so he's showing me that he cares about my feelings, about the work, and about the relationship. And because he cares about me, I care a lot about him. I care about his child. I care about his marriage. I care about his health. I care about his goals. I care about his opportunities. And I give him more and more money as he improves. So this is the ethics of a good relationship. Now, this is also an area that you can be exceptional. There's a price to this because you have to say no to short-term opportunities. You want to go to a party, but your boss needs you to finish something that's very important to them. You said it would be done by this time. You have an offer to go to a party. You can go to the party and you can damage the trust in the relationship. And then you can do that again. And your boss will not feel that you care a lot about the job and the work. And so the relationship will be weak. If the boss sees another person who seems like they're more loyal than you are, they'll let them have the job. So the same is, of course, true with a boss. I always pay my virtual assistant the same day he sends me his bill. I pay him the same day all the time. Now, I also give him little birthday presents and Christmas presents. And over time, as he gets better, I give him raises. So this is a win-win ethical relationship. It's good for me. It's good for him. And that's what you need to have if you want to work with someone for 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 years. And if you work well and think about your employer and you keep growing, you see, this is something my assistant did early in our relationship. He didn't know a lot. And so I would say, I want you to read this book. I want you to study this skill. And he would go and study it. And he wouldn't charge me. He would read the book so that he could get better. Then he would learn a new skill. Once he learned the new skill, I could hire him to do that work. Once he learned a lot of skills and learned to do them better, I could give him more money per hour. And that's an ethical relationship. And that, brings me to this. You want to have a long-term good relationship with a good employer, where things get a little bit better every 6 months for you and for them. That means you have to develop new skills and get better and faster. And you have to buy, for example, if you make $1,000 and before you couldn't afford a good laptop. Well, maybe you spend $300 of the $1,000 to buy a better laptop. Now you can work a little faster and be more reliable, and you keep the cheap tablet as a backup, because then you are more responsible, you're more reliable. So now you become more valuable, and a boss can pay you a little bit more. Now, the next thing I want to educate you about is the power of a good teacher or a mentor. A good teacher knows the terrain that you want to go into. Let's say you want to be rich at some point. Let's say you want to be self-reliant and be able to travel anywhere in the world. And you want to be able to work for multiple different bosses in different languages and stuff. You want to be really good at this and this and this. Well, a good mentor will know good books for you to read, will answer some of your questions, will talk with you about your goals and show some interest, and will give you jobs and ways that you can practice getting good at doing those things. This is incredibly valuable because they know a lot of things that you don't know. And that's the value of a mentor. So, for example, in my mentoring with my virtual assistant, when we began, he was working 50 or 60 hours a week. He was separate from his wife, and he didn't have a child. He didn't own an apartment. And he was living in the United States. He now has a child, owns his own apartment, spends his time with his wife, and rather than working 60 hours a week, he works 30 hours a week or less, because he likes to copy my lifestyle. I usually work 4 or 5 hours a day, some in my landscape business and some with my nonprofit work. And he learned from me. So his health is better. He has a lot more experience. He has a lot more independence. He's closer to his goals. That's the power of a good mentor. And a good mentor is priceless. So you show respect to someone who can teach you what you need to learn. And how you show that respect is you learn and you put in the hours. You really study and you work hard, and then you will grow rapidly. And this will make a mentor happy. You also try and learn things that are useful for your mentor/employer. The other thing I want to emphasize is that some people have a lot of technical knowledge, but they really don't care about you. But they can help you. If you pay them enough money, they'll help you, and they're very good at what they do. Other people are very kind and they want to help you, but they don't know what they're doing. They say, "Oh, it's so nice to see you. How can I help you?" etc. But they don't have any knowledge. They don't have any computer. They don't have any skills. They don't have an internet connection. So they're very nice, but they cannot help you. Other people can help you, but they don't care. The balance is important. You want to be developing new skills that help you be more and more effective at helping your employer. And also doing it from a good place in your heart where you care about them. So you work hard to develop new skills, to practice your English, to show up on time, to communicate, to invest in the relationship, etc. Now, particularly in the Philippines and perhaps some other countries, virtual assisting is a little bit of a new idea. And it's very common for a family, particularly a poor family, not to understand the importance of the job or how it can grow over a 4-year period. Because if you do a great job, within 3 years, you can easily be making anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 pesos a month, depending on your skills. It's easy if you do a good job and keep growing. Anywhere between 10,000 and 100,000 pesos a month. But you have to build the trust, the loyalty, the skills, and you have to do what you say you will do, week after week after week. And you have to do it really well so that when there's a monsoon or a typhoon or something and there's a problem, that your employer will wait for you. Because if you are lazy and did this late and then you're lazy and did that late and you don't know how to do this well and you don't speak English and then you don't answer your telephone and you didn't do this, and then there's a monsoon or a typhoon or an earthquake, the employer will just say, okay, that's not a good match. I will hire someone else who is more reliable. So you need your family's support and planning if you live at home, if you're in close relationship with your family. You need to teach them, look, for the next 3 years, my job has to come first. Now, there's a number of things about this. This is not a good time to have a baby. So, birth control pills are very cheap and available. If you want to rapidly grow your skills and you're starting from a low skill level, and you need to really practice, you cannot take care of a 1-year-old baby and work 8 hours a day. It's too much. And so you need to have family planning. This is not the good time to have a child when you're starting a new skill. It's not a good time to go and take care of sick relatives. You need to focus on building a skill. Now, once you have a good skill in 3 years, and you have lots of money, then you can hire someone to help with a sick relative. You can take some time off to take care of your child and still do a lot of efficient work, maybe working 3 or 4 hours a day. But be aware, particularly if you are young and in an Asian family, that it's possible your family will try and destroy your job because they don't understand that your job could support the family. If they were intelligent, if your parents were intelligent, they would support you to get skills so that you could be your own person and work from home and learn a great skill. If they are not intelligent and they don't support you, you may want to go and stay with a friend until you can rent your own apartment, your own place, so that you can build your skills. Because ultimately, this is one of the better jobs to have. It's 10 times better than a factory job. It's better than working in a store. It's better than many hard labor jobs. It pays more money. You learn more skills. You have more freedom. You can travel around the world with this freedom. The next thing that we come to is candidness and transparency. If you do not know and understand something, you need to say, hello, I don't understand this. Please tell me. If you say, I understand, and make a mistake, that is going to damage the relationship. If you say, I do not understand, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Please explain it to me. Then your employer, perhaps myself, can take time to explain things to you. But you must be transparent. Do you understand? Can you do it? Will you do it? Yes or no? If you say yes, you need to work hard and do it. And if you have a problem, you need to ask for help immediately. I don't know what to do here. What shall I do? Immediately ask for help. And one of the reasons for the videos down below is maybe they can explain it to you. Maybe they can explain it to you. Finally, honesty. It's really, really important that when you say you work 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, that you work the time that you say you did to work. Now, if you lie, there's two problems. First of all, let's say I understand that it typically takes me 10 minutes to do the job that I asked you to do, and you say it took you 2 hours to do it. That means you're 12 times slower than me, which means you should not get a high salary because you are very, very slow to do that job. I'm going to understand how fast you work by how much you get done in the hour. Now, if you work fast and get a lot done in an hour, I think you need to be paid more money for your hour because you're a fast worker. So, an employer doesn't ultimately think about the amount per hour. It doesn't matter if you cost 50 pesos an hour or 500 pesos an hour. What matters is how much work did you get done in the hour. If you got done in the hour 10 times more than the other person got done with 50 pesos an hour, you can be worth 500 pesos an hour because you did 10 times more work in 1 hour. If you're 10 times slower than somebody else, even 50 pesos is too much to pay you. And so you want to be honest with the time that you spend, one. And two, how can you have a long-term relationship based on friendship and trust and hope for goals and someone taking time to teach you about life if you lie to them? Because sometime, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, sometime they are going to see that you lied to them. And if you lie even one time, and they say, they lie sometimes, the relationship goes down in value by 70%. You are not a valuable employee if you lie. Because who knows, why will you lie today or not this? And it hurts my feelings because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to do what I said I would do. I'm going to explain if there's some change that comes up immediately. So honesty is really important. And it is particularly important to me because I don't lie to my employees, I don't lie to my friends, I don't lie to my wife. I don't think it's a good idea. And I really want to spend time with other people who are honest, who care about the truth. Now, it's fine if you don't know something. Then that's the time for you to spend more time learning and skill building, and I can give you some suggestions. But if you don't know something and you lie about it and you say, oh, I understand, then I can't help you because you're pretending you understand. If you lie about money, then I don't trust you. So then I never know when you're telling the truth or not, so I want to pay you less because maybe you're lying again. It's not a good dynamic. So usually I separate from people. If I discover they lied to me, I don't want to work with them. And so this is the terrain of thinking and strategy and time frame. It takes 3 years of hard work to get good. If you already have some skills, you may do it in the first year. But it's a long-term relationship that can change your life in a very positive way. And in, for example, some of the nonprofit work that I do, it's also a relationship that can help other people around the planet and can teach you skills that you can then teach to people in your family and friends so that they can grow their lives and all of your futures can be a little bit better. I'm Dane Rose, and thank you for listening.